Hello! So today I want to dive into a topic that changed the game for me and for so many of my clients as well. And we're talking about income producing activities, also known in my world as IPAs. And no, I don't mean the beer, though we can celebrate with one later if you like, but personally, I'm not a fan. So I want to talk about what IPAs really are, why most business owners waste time on things that don't move the needle, and how to get focused so you can earn more without working more, because these are so important. So first of all, I want to talk about what are income producing activities. So let's start simple. Income producing activities are the specific tasks in your business that directly lead to sales or client conversion. So it's not the admin work, it's not tweaking your Canva graphics, and it's not reorganizing your Google Drive, though I do live a bit of a digital declutter. I'm talking about things like following up with leads, having sales conversations, sending out emails that include a clear call to action, promoting your offers, booking calls, hosting live trainings or webinars that pitch your service. So if a task doesn't lead people to buy or engage with your offer, then it's not income producing. So that is what I want you to think about when I'm thinking about an income producing activity. It's an activity that is going to directly engage people with your offer, and we need to be doing them every single working day. I used to say every day, but I am all about freedom. I'm all about growing your business without having to hustle, without having to work 24/7. So my philosophy is do income producing activities every day, but every working day. Because I don't work every day, I don't do income producing activities every day, but I do them every day that I am working, which is 4 days a week. So now you're well equipped to know exactly what they are. I'm hoping that you're kind of thinking, yeah, I do this, I do that, but you might be thinking, I might need to do more or need to be consistent with doing more. So I want to talk to you about the mistake that most business owners make. So it's a trap that I see so many business owners fall into, especially when they're juggling life, family, and work. They end up spending 80% of their time doing things that feel productive but aren't actually profitable. So this is things like endless content creation with no strategy. So obvious that content can produce income. It is an income producing activity, but if you're doing it with no strategy, with no clear call to actions, it's not income producing. So we want to change that. It can be playing with your branding colours. Now, your brand is super, super important, but playing around and procrastinating, which is the act of procrastinating by rebranding on a regular basis, is not going to move the needle. It's not going to bring you in more income, because when it comes to your branding, the message, the values, the mission, and the stories that you share, your personal brand has more of an impact than the actual images, graphics, design, and products, colours that you produce. So that playing around with that on a regular basis is not going to bring you money. I'm watching free webinars but not implementing anything. Oh, who is guilty of that? Are you listening, and are you guilty of that? Does it sound familiar? I know this because I have done all three of these things. All three of them, right? I've been there, and in my early days, I'd spend hours doing busy work and then wonder why my bank account didn't reflect my effort. It wasn't until I got brutally honest about where my time was going that I saw a shift. So, for those of you that have been on the podcast and you've listened to my story, I share the fact that I ran my keepsake business for 6 years, and I got sales, I made a bit of money, but it wasn't anything to write home about. And at that point, it was because I wasn't actually spending my time effectively doing income producing activities. The moment I realised what things made me money and how to get visible so that it could lead to a sale is the moment that the game changed. I started getting more inquiries, which then resulted in more sales. I started finding ways to simplify it, to make earning money quicker, easier, so I didn't have to busy myself, and I made sure that I prioritised income producing activities. So that is the biggest mistake, is not actually prioritizing it. So every working day that you have, and my rule of thumb is setting aside as a minimum, so your minimum standard of a working day is 15 minutes for income producing activities. However, I truly believe if you can spend an hour doing it, it's gonna have more impact. So I'm talking about spending an hour making sure It might be that one activity is you create a piece of content that's strategic, that has a call to action, that leads to a sale. It might be that you follow up with someone that asked about your service last week but has taken no action. Okay? 2 examples there. But I want to help you identify your income producing activities, because everybody's activities are going to be different. The income producing activities that you implement in your business versus what I implement are going to be very different, because we run different businesses. But this is where the magic happens. So your income producing activities will depend on your business model and the services that you offer. However, they all centre around visibility, connection and conversion. Okay, so 3 things there: visibility, connection and conversion. So think about, how can I be visible? What is already working for you when it comes to visibility? What could you try that you haven't tried yet? And then I want you to ask the exact same 3 questions around connection. How can you create more connections with people? What have you already tried and what's working? And what have you not yet tried? And then again, for conversion, how can you convert more sales? What are you doing that's already working? And what haven't you tried yet? And the reason I ask you to do this is because I want you to think outside the box. I want you to start brainstorming in these areas so that you can start discovering and identifying what your IPAs are, so that you can then implement them within your business. So visibility, connection and conversion. And asking yourself what's already working is really important, because it gets you so much clarity. If nothing's working, you're not getting any results at all, then we know that you need to start taking action on that. However, if something is working, then you can recognise that it is. So it's asking yourself, how can I double down on that? How can I do more of that? So just as an example, if networking is proving great for your visibility because you're meeting more people and it's leading to connection, then you want to ask yourself, how can I do more of that if it's working? How can I fit in more time to do that? Okay? And I want you to find more ways to figure it out. So here's how you can go through the process of figuring out what is converting for you, what is building that visibility, connection and leading to the sales. So the first question to ask yourself is, how did your last few clients find you? And if you don't know, then it's time to start taking action and asking that question. If when you sign a new client and you don't know where they came from, you need to start asking them. Because data is powerful, data gives you insight, because once you know, you can make sure that you focus and hone in on that even more and repeat the process. Okay, so first question, look at how did your last few clients find you? And the second question is, what did you do that helped them to take action? So what did you do in that activity to help your client to take action and say yes to you? Okay, so asking yourself that. And then the third thing is, how can you repeat that process consistently? So you know how they found you if you've done the work or if you asked the question. If you haven't, go do that. And second of all, what did you do that helped them take that action to desire to work with you and actually pay you money? And how can you repeat that process consistently? So for example, if most of your clients booked in after a live Q&A or after you posted an offer with a strong call to action, then that was your income producing activity. If you got a sale from doing a live Q&A and you shared a strong call to action, that was your income producing activity. You know that going live and doing a Q&A works, so you want to invite people to do that again so that you can sell more. Or if nobody ever bought after you spent 3 hours choosing a song to go on a reel, and that reel didn't get any results, then that is not an income producing activity. It shows that your reels are not having impact. So for you, that is not an income producing activity. Okay, just going to take a little drink. I want to share with you as well what my IPA routine looks like behind the scenes. I want to give you a peek behind the curtain, and I love doing this, and what my income producing activity list includes. And yeah, I'm going to be open and I'm going to show you. So basically, one of the things I do is I reach out to warm leads and check in. So this is anyone who has maybe, usually it's someone who's asked about information about something before. So say they've asked for information about my event. Currently, at the moment of recording this podcast, I am promoting my Innovation Celebration event. Sorry, I need to cough. You get real and raw with me. I don't do edits. So say that someone has asked me about my event that I'm selling right now, then I don't hear anything. I'll reach out to that one lead and check in, follow up with them. I'll reach out. Did you look at the info? Did you have any questions? They might say, no, I've not done that yet, so I'll give them time and space to do that. I'll ask them about the self, ask them about the business, and start a conversation, because I'm not just about the sale. I want to know what's going on for them. I want to get to know them, to build that relationship. So if I'm not getting the sale right there and then, I'll focus on the connection. Another thing I might do is post a clear offer on my stories. So I use Instagram and Facebook stories. I might have a clear offer on those stories with a call to action. Obviously, call to action being to buy the thing that I'm selling. Or it might be to get them to DM me and ask for the details. It's also engaging with potential clients in DMs or going to networking sessions. So I have a favourite networking group that I attend on a regular basis at in-person sessions. They also have online ones on a Monday, and then I also run my own online and in person. So I take part in them on a regular basis, engage with people there as well, which builds connection, which obviously leads to income. And it might be that I create a strategic piece of content, like this podcast, to get me visible, to create connection, and to give a call to action. So these are just some of the things that I do as part of my income producing activity routine. But then each week I also schedule time into email my list with value, so like tips. I send out an email when the podcast goes out so that people can come and listen to it. And I also share my offer. I share a sales email every week as well. Any masterclasses or programs, anything that I deliver, I promote those as well. So I promote them. Make sure I'm doing that on a weekly basis. I host a live or training that invites people into my world. So this might be on my own social media accounts, such as Instagram, Facebook, and then I'll repurpose that onto YouTube as well, so that I'm always visible. It might be that I actually do the live guest speaking in somewhere else, in someone else's Facebook group or community, or for their membership, or for their clients, or in person as well. It's not about doing more activities, it's actually about doing the right activities on a consistent basis that are going to get results. Because this works for me. These activities work for me. You might not like going live, so your energy is not great, and so your call to action is not strong, and you don't get results from it. If that's the case for you, then you've got two options with this activity. You either build your confidence and work at it so that it does start to get your results, or decide that that's not for you and that's not going to be an activity that you want to include in your business, so you don't make time for it. So it's about elimination process. What works, what doesn't for you as part of your income producing activity routine. Okay? Feels like these podcasts sometimes become like a little mini masterclass in themselves, but I want to impact you from hosting these podcast sessions. We're all about sales, strategy, and systems from this podcast that's going to get you results. Okay, I want to share with you some quick wins to start today. So here are 3 things that you can do today to shift into income mode, so that you can start actually working on your income producing activities. Because I know that one of the mistakes is business owners are not spending enough time working in this area. We're always focusing on having to create content that's not backed by strategy, having to create the sales page, rebrand, create Canva graphics, do the website updates. But we need to prioritise what's going to make us money first. And of course all of that is important, but you need to make sure you've got time for all of the things you need to do to make your business succeed. So 3 things. First one is to audit your calendar. So ask yourself, where is your time going? Highlight actually what's generating leads or sales, first of all. Because if you're not dedicating time to income producing activities, then I want you to think about how you can implement into your schedule, into your calendar right now. How can you schedule that time in for the IPAs? The second one is make an offer. Right now, if you haven't posted today, at the time of listening to this, about an offer that you're selling, then I want you to go and do it. Go and post about your service and invite people to book or message you for more details. Go and make that offer and get visible with it to produce the income, because if people don't know, they can't buy. I had this on a coaching session recently in my membership, the Queen's Connection Club. I had a conversation with someone who has their own service that they created themselves. It's trademarked and everything, and they wanted to focus on that this year. But then they came into a session with me, and I said to them, how often have you posted on social media about this service? When they looked, it was like 3 times this year alone. So in the space of 5 months, they'd posted 3 times. To which my response is, how can anyone buy that service from you if they don't know about it? You have to get visible with that service, you have to make a connection with the right people, and then you can convert it. It's the 3-step process. So make that offer and go and get it out there. Invite people to book or message you about it. And then the third action for a quick win that you can do is follow up. If someone messaged you last week but didn't buy, check in with them. A reminder often makes all the difference. And the reason I'm so passionate about this one is because I am the kind of person that will be interested in something but completely forget about it. So, for example, the lady that I buy my skincare from, she always checks in. She shares with me offers that are going on in the company at the time, which is great because I get a discount. I don't miss it, and I don't mind that. Sometimes I'm not ready to buy, but it's nice to know. And sometimes I will hold off buying to get the offer. So she benefits because I still order, but I benefit because I got that offer, and I appreciate that. It makes a difference. I am the kind of person that will forget. People see a message and get interrupted because the kids want them, or they need to go check on the tea, or someone phones them. We are easily distracted in this busy life that we have these days, so a follow-up is really important. And also, it lets you know where you stand if they say no. It's great. It's great. It lets you know where you stand. In fact, I hate it when someone doesn't say yes or no. I like to know where I stand. However, I'm not going to lie, I still struggle with follow-ups. If you were in my world, if you're a client or if you've been in my world and you have had a follow-up from me, then that's great. But I guarantee I don't push it enough. And this is something I want to work on myself, and I'm going to be really honest about this. And the reason is because I've felt icky about it. But the reality is, if you don't follow up, you're doing someone a disservice, because the thing that you sell can actually help them. It's not about making money, it's about helping people and having that impact. And I'm so passionate about that. So when I think about that, it makes me want to message people and check in and see where they're at. So I want you to think about it in the same way as well. If this episode has lit a fire under you, then you would love my free Income Producers Activities Masterclass. In this masterclass, I walk you through how to organise your income producing activities in a way that works with your life and actually grows your business. So I'll pop a link in the show notes, or you can head over to social media and DM me the word IPAs on Instagram and I'll send it straight over to you. But until next time, keep doing what actually works for your business. You've got this. Spend the time on the income producing activities that are going to get you the results. See you again soon.